Okay, today we're going to talk about increasing and decreasing intervals. In this graph, we are given the graph and we have the maximum value identified, -2, +4, and a minimum value identified as 4, -5. If you trace along your graph, this is increasing, this is decreasing, this is increasing. So I'm going to put some vertical lines through those intervals. They're a little bit light, I hope you can see them. And then if I follow along the x-axis from left to right, I'll name the intervals. Now, this is going up, so this would be an increasing interval. And now I just have to name that with the x values. Notice the arrow, so it means I'm coming from -infinity. And then I'm going to stop here, and I'm talking about the x values, and the x value is -2. And then our next interval is going down, so that's going to be a decreasing interval. You name it with your x values, -2 to +4. And then go to your next one, which is increasing. Talk about the x values, 4. And then notice the arrow, so it keeps going from 4 to +infinity. And let's look at one other example. And then this would be decreasing, constant, increasing, constant. So I'm just going to name the increasing interval for this one, talking about the x values, so that would be 2 to 4. So I am increasing from the interval 2 to 4. Now it's possible you may not be given a graph, but just given an equation, and you would need to put that equation into your calculator. So let's pull out our handy dandy calculator. Sorry. And we would go to y equals, and let's just say that the equation was x squared. That's not showing up extremely well, but that is an x squared plus, let's just say 5x minus 6, and hit graph. Sorry, don't worry about this part. My stat plot is on and needs to be turned off, and zoom standard, and here's my graph. So there's a point down here that is the minimum, and I'd like to find that point. So I hit second calc or trace, and then I would hit the minimum option. If you have a maximum, you might need to hit the maximum option instead. So minimum, and then it's asking me left bound. So I'm just going to move my cursor, hitting my arrow keys, to where I can see the cursor show up on my screen. It's right here. Enter, and then the calculator says right bound. So I'm using my right arrow keys, and I'm moving over to the other side, and now there's my cursor. Enter, and it says guess, and you hit enter, and then it says minimum value -2.3, or excuse me, it might be a -2.5, and the y value is -12.25. But when I'm talking about increasing and decreasing intervals, I'm only concerned about the x value.